Super excited to be here in the studio once again. It's been a while since we've been in here, but that can only mean one thing, and that is there's some news from Tesla. Finally, we have some news to talk about, and this time it's really good news. I'm super excited about this one because Tesla did just launch a brand new model, and in launching this, it comes with some things I was not expecting. Yes, the refresh Model Y has been shipping to customers for almost 2 months now, and this refresh came with a lot of desired features that we've been asking for some time. And now it comes in rear-wheel drive. So as you know, it launched as the launch series at $60,000, and it came with absolutely every option available. Towards the end of the ordering of that, they no longer had white interior, but then it finally closed out and you were able to order the same car without the launch series features. Now, to get the same features outside of the launch series in the standard long-range all-wheel drive, it did end up costing about $4,000 more than the launch series, but that's all we've had for all this time since then. And of course, Tesla's long-range rear-wheel drive, which is something we got last year for the first time in the Model Y, that is now back. Finally, we have that as an option. What I didn't expect, well, let's just dive into the details over here on the computer because I think some of you are going to be pleasantly surprised and pleased with how this thing is being launched, at least as much as I am. Okay, so we're over here on Tesla's website, and yes, we have had some updates to the layout of the website, and here at the top you can see our new Model Y. But what is different is, if you scroll down here, what is this all about? We now have some new numbers here. So going over to the order page, you read that right. The long-range rear-wheel drive is now available, and it is estimated at a range, EPA estimated range of 357 miles, which is incredible. We've never had anything close to this in the Model Y, and this is going to be a really awesome number because just yesterday I launched a new video showing you my range test on our long-range all-wheel drive Model Y with the upgraded wheels, and I exceeded the EPA rated range. Now, I have the upgraded wheels, not these core wheels, so I am excited to test that out eventually with the regular wheels, but wow, that is a big number for the Model Y. And given the Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive comes with 363, I believe it is, this is pretty awesome. A north of 350 mile range car at this price is insane. Let's get rid of the $7,500 tax credit here. So you're talking $45,000 base price versus $49,000 base price. So $4,000 less for this car. Now, of course, going from one to the other, you're going to actually gain range, but you'll lose acceleration. So instead of the 327 miles of range, you'll go up to 357. Instead of 4.60 to 60, you go up to 5.4, which is still plenty quick. Trust me, that is still a really quick car. But here's where things caught me off guard. Yes, this range was more than I was expecting, and I'm very happy to see that. But this is where the rubber meets the road right here. This is the best part. Of course, you already know about all these new features we got with the launch of the long-range all-wheel drive Model Y. But when you compare the two, of course, we can see our prices are different. Our range is different. Our 0 to 60 is different. Of course, we also have a difference in supercharging time. Now, it doesn't mean it has a different battery. It just means because of the rated range being higher, you'll get more rated miles of range in 15 minutes than you would in the long-range all-wheel drive. That's not because of anything different other than the efficiency of the vehicle. So don't get confused there. But other than that, look at this. Included with all trims, a first row power recline heated and ventilated seats. It still has ventilated seats. Second row power two-way folding and heated. So the power tilt rear seats are still power tilt. The audio system, the new 15-speaker, one subwoofer audio system is available in the long-range rear-wheel drive. Also, you still get that awesome upgraded premium sound system. You still have the rear display. You still have, of course, the standard front display. We have the same suspension that is quite an improvement over previous generation. Footwell and door lighting, so they didn't cut out any of the extra ambient lights. We have that here as well with ambient lights, aluminum detailing, so it's not black plastic instead of aluminum. and our climate, everything is the same. We still have that front camera, all of it, it's all the same. So literally the only difference between the long range all-wheel drive and the long range rear wheel drive now is just the range and the fact that it has one less motor, giving you a slower 0 to 60. So everything else about this car, everything you're going to touch and feel is exactly the same. This is not how Tesla has historically done this. Usually with the rear wheel drive model, you actually get less premium features. And in some markets, you actually get like fabric seats. Over on the Cybertruck, as an example, the new lower cost Cybertruck doesn't even have leather seats or fake leather, textile, whatever you want to call it. This is unusual. Even over on the Model 3, which I can show you right now, a price difference of $5,000 instead of $4,000 going from the long-range rear-wheel drive to the long-range all-wheel drive. But this does actually cut on some features, nothing too major, but there are feature changes nonetheless. First and foremost, kind of on the interior, it's nothing too crazy, but we do have some differences in the trim on the inside of the car. Instead of the cheaper kind of textile they have here on the doors, it's more of a fake, it's a suede of some kind, and a little bit more premium, a little bit nicer, but not $1,000 in difference. Where the big hit comes, other than in the performance and the range and things like that, is you actually get a different sound system in the car. So I believe you go from a 15 speaker system. Actually, it's 17 speakers in the Model 3, excuse me. You go down to a 9 speakers, almost half the sound system. And the all-wheel drive, actually, that sound system does have 2 subwoofers too. So it's a pretty big difference in sound system, but that's really the biggest difference between the two when it comes to what features you miss out on. But again, over on the Model Y, that's not the case. We actually have the exact same interior features on both vehicles. And since Tesla stopped shipping cars with fog lights, you don't miss out on the fog lights because there's not fog lights to get rid of. You still have the light bar up front. You still have the ambient light bar on the inside, which is fun. But there you go. Same door cards and everything. So all the options are also the same. $1,000 for most paint, $1,500 for black, $2,000 for ultra red and quicksilver. The wheels, they are $2,000 as they were before. And the difference in range is very strange in my opinion. So looking at this, 357 miles with the regular wheels, the crossflow wheels, and we upgraded 20. Here it's dropping into 344, which is only 13 miles of range. But on the long-range all-wheel drive, we go from 327 down to 303, which is 24 miles of range. So I'm very curious on why the difference here is so much less on the long-range rear-wheel drive than it is on the long-range all-wheel drive. But other than that, everything else kind of makes sense looking at this car. When you go to the white interior, same kind of upgrades. So this is one heck of a deal. I am very excited about how this particular long-range rear-wheel drive Model Y has turned out, because this is good value for the money. $4,000 less, rear-wheel drive, about 0.8 of a second slower 0 to 60, but a huge jump in range, 30 additional miles. That's massive. If we could get 10% range improvement on any car, that is very big. And that's exactly what you get by going with the long range rear wheel drive. Now, understand this is going to take a little bit of time to get. And right now it says, I think 3 to 5 weeks, at least in my area, 3 to 5 weeks to get this car. And of course, that is probably going to extend as orders start coming in, because this is going to be a very popular model. A lot of people have been waiting for this to launch before making their order because there would be savings. I don't think most people realized it would be the exact same car minus the extra motor, and that is really cool. So anyways, if we add the $7,500 tax credit, which you can get at point of sale as long as you qualify based on income, 37.5 is what you're talking about for this car. That is a lot of car for 37.5. But what else is interesting is on the lease side, $399 a month, $3,000 down for 3 years, 10,000 miles a year. So the lease is still a little bit high. I think the incentivized lease deal on the Model Y outgoing was something like $299 was the best we saw for the long range rear wheel drive. But the financing, although you can get 1.99% on the long-range all-wheel drive, you cannot get that on the long-range rear-wheel drive. So the monthly cost on this is actually about the same, which is pretty wild. And that is because there's no incentivized interest rate available for the long-range rear-wheel drive, at least for now. So even all the way down to 36 months, it's still 5.5%. So that is something to keep in mind too, is if you're considering the both, if you're going to have to finance, the cost difference here isn't all that much. So if you would like to get the car sooner, you could actually finance a long-range all-wheel drive for about the same as you're going to get the long-range rear-wheel drive. The lease, on the other hand, it's $100 less a month. Awesome deal. Cash, of course, $4,000 less. Really awesome deal. So am I more excited for this than I should be? Probably. But this is such a big deal because affordability is such a big issue, especially with electric vehicles. And Tesla, that is part of their mission. And although I was worried they were losing their way a couple of years ago with all the price increases, they are back on track with launching more affordable models and getting more people access to these vehicles. And at $37.5, that is significantly less than the average price of a new car here in the United States. You get an all-electric Model Y, tons of space, like smack dab in the fruit of the category, the biggest category in the United States. We're all obsessed with smaller SUVs, and that is exactly what this is. This is right in the crosshairs of where the biggest market is, at least here in the United States. There's a reason why this car was the best-selling car 2 years in a row, regardless of type of fuel it uses. It outsold the Corolla 2 years in a row. And although there was a changeover in production to this new model, they say there's still a chance it could happen this year for a third year in a row. And I wouldn't be surprised because it's just such a good car. You don't understand the value of driving electric versus gas, the savings in the maintenance and the fuel itself. It's a no-brainer. And by the way, this car drives itself, and that is pretty cool. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on this? I personally am way more excited about this now, seeing the results and seeing it doesn't have a bunch of stuff stripped out of it. And still a pretty big chunk of change taken out of the price. $4,000 is quite a bit of money. I think this is a great deal. And I think this is going to be a very popular model for Tesla for the rest of this year. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one.